In a world filled with cinematic trash, it's easy to call out everything wrong with a movie. But what if we forced that lazy film criticism to stop hating on movies? What if they were forced to love them? We grabbed two of the most negative neck-bearded film critics on the internet and forced them to watch some of Hollywood's greatest dumpster fires. They'll go head-to-head, competing to see who can most convincingly defend these cinematic piles of Each man must fight to overcome his hatred, learn to love each wretched film, and confidently declare to the world that it is the best movie ever.
Best movie ever is going to be part of my new movie channel, Movie World, where we only talk movies. So hit that subscribe button, that bell for all alerts, and then smash that like button and leave a comment down below with the movie you want to torture us with next. Hello and welcome to the first episode of Best Movie Ever. In this episode, we watch 1998's Godzilla.
I love everything about this 2-hour nightmare. Every minute of this movie is not a chore to sit through.
Well, Vito, we're known on the web, Honest Trailers, your cinematic failures. We're known for sort of knocking films down. And so I thought this would be really fun if you and I teamed up once in a while to watch some of the worst movies of all time. But you and I have to challenge each other to earn points to be positive about these films.
Let them fight.
We have to give each other 5 positive points, okay? Now, if Vito or I pull one of our positives, we have to move on to another one. We can't repeat ourselves. And
right.
So whoever
if Andy
goes
brings
first,
one up,
yeah.
I can't copy you.
And so there's a little bit of like a competition with Vito and I we're debating which order do we go with, so we try to beat each other. So there's already a little bit of scheming here.
There's a meta game here. You gotta lead with the one you know that other guy has, so you steal it from him before he can do it.
Guys, you will vote at the end of this episode who ultimately thinks Godzilla 1998 is the best movie ever. Did we stay positive? At the end of the show, Vito wants 10 seconds where we rag on the movie, so stay tuned to that. But we'll get there. All right, so Vito,
I gotta get it out of my system.
but now,
but mostly
flip it on.
We love it.
We must speak positive unless we're criticizing each other's positive. That's the only time we're allowed to remark critically. Otherwise, anytime we're speaking on behalf of the film, we must be speaking positively. So pay attention at home, chat. Anything else you want to add, Vito?
This is going to be a great challenge for me, but I'm going to make it work.
It is for me, too. My honest trailer brain had to turn off. I can't tell you how many times I was doing that. All right, rock, paper, scissors. Here we go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, I got you. All right, there it is.
Terrible at rock, paper, scissors.
Nice. All right, so I'm going to start. I'm going to start, and I'm going to pick one that I don't know if you're going to have this one, but I'm going to go there, okay? Here's why Godzilla 1998 is the best movie ever. Now, look, caveat. It may not be a great Godzilla movie, but it's a great big-budget monster movie.
Wrong floor.
And it's from the team that already knows how to destroy all these cities of Independence Day, Roland Emmerich, Dean Devlin. They do a fantastic job at creating a big popcorn monster movie ravaging the city. And when you accept that it's not a Godzilla movie and you accept it as a fun monster disaster movie, I think the movie totally works. And now
a Godzilla movie that is not a Godzilla movie.
Well, hear me out.
You have to go into it like that.
Hear me out. My point of the fact that this is a Sonic the Hedgehog problem. If the Godzilla wasn't an iguana with chicken legs, I think a lot more people would have enjoyed it. Or if they had just called it something else, people would have enjoyed it. So everyone's hung up, I think, on the problem that it's not Godzilla, right? Is what the problem is. So I don't take it as Godzilla. I see it as not Godzilla. In fact, the Toho, whatever it is, the Japanese, they in fact already have said this is Zilla. This is not Godzilla.
The New York attack was Godzilla, right? That's what all the American experts claim. But our guys here have doubts.
In fact,
they
Roland
took
Emmerich
God off of it.
Exactly, and I pulled the quote. Roland Emmerich said, "I didn't want to make the original Godzilla. I wanted nothing to do with it. I wanted to make my own. We took part of the original movie's basic storyline in that the creature becomes created by radiation. It becomes a big challenge, but that's all we took. Then we took ourselves. What we do today with a monster movie and a story like that, we forget everything about the original Godzilla right there. And that is my positive. That's the best thing I can say about this movie. When you look at Godzilla through the lens of a fun 90s monster movie, Havocing City through the directors of Independence Day, Stargate, this movie is a blast. And so I got to say, look, it does totally work for me, and I think it's fair to say that's a positive because, look, they've even admitted it. Roland Emmerich wasn't making a Godzilla movie. Toho doesn't want it to be a Godzilla movie, so let's stop calling it Godzilla. This movie is Zilla, It is what it is.
Yeah.
And we got to own it for what it is. So that's my first point.
I'll be fair. Obviously, Godzilla comes with a lot of baggage because that series has had a lot of themes about man creating his own destruction and whatever else. So going into this movie, you're like, oh, you guys kind of threw all that out and just made a whole different thing. But if you go, yeah, it's not Godzilla, you're able to take that out of your head.
It's a positive. There it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know if I put these in the best order, but here's something I got to say. I mean, obviously, this is a classic Hollywood blockbuster from the era when you really had classic Hollywood filmmaking, and what I loved was filming on location in New York City. When are you going to get that again? It's not a bunch of green screens. It's not, going to Canada so you could shoot on a budget and then just green screen in the Empire State Building into the background. We are in New York. You are seeing real New York locations and real New Yorkers. This movie is very much the heart of it is New York. You got guys walking around going, hey, what's going on with this lizard here? Like, I love all that. It's so camp. There's a great part where they're watching a guy. He's fishing in the East River. Hey, the only thing you're gonna catch is a cold out there, buddy. and he reels in Godzilla, and they go, "Oh, what's it?" Two fat New Yorkers eating sub sandwiches. The New York spirit of this movie, and again, seeing these great New York locations. I mean, the destruction of some great New York landmarks. We see the Chrysler Building get blown up, Madison Square Garden. This is a New York movie, and I love it for that.
That is a great one, but you didn't mention one of mine that I'm going to jump into next.
Yes.
Which is connected to yours in a way. The practical effects in this movie are great. When they actually use there are moments where you see parts
that's my number two.
Oh, yes, I did it. Yes!
I should have led with it. Why did I go with New York first?
Spirit of the City. I didn't have that on my list, but it was a good one. But the practical effects in this movie are fantastic. The ship crashing in the beginning, it looks real. There are moments of action in this film. Knock it all you want. There are moments of action that they use practical effects from an action standpoint in the city where they're crashing cars or ships, etc., as well as parts of the monster where you can tell they actually, and later in the film, spoiler alert, we're talking about it, the baby, there are moments where they do actually have some animatronics that work and some big close-ups of Zilla. I'm going to call him Zilla to own my first point, where I do think, wow, I made a point several times throughout my notes of like, that looks pretty damn good. That opening ship was fantastic. So
I was going to say the ship part especially I have in my notes. I forgot what real water looks like in a movie because I'm so used to seeing these CG waves overtaking This was like a real set where they sunk a boat. You know, I'm sure it's on hydraulics, slowly lowering it into the water, but I mean, that was great. I'm like, you're never going to see that again. They won't do it.
They never do that today. It's all CGI nonsense. So when you go back and see it,
the car chase and everything.
Now, there's some CGI in this movie, but we're going to be positive, so we won't go there. But yes, the practical effects look great.
There's some very bad CG.
But go ahead. You're number two then. You have to adjust.
Now I got to go straight to my number three. And this might, maybe I'm getting too specific, but again, I think the best part of the movie is Victor Animal Pilati. Did you love this guy as much as me?
I did.
This guy is
Hank Azaria is amazing in this movie.
He's the only guy in the movie who's getting things done. He's a hardworking journalist, just trying to get a shot of Godzilla. And ultimately, I was thinking about it, I'm like, I would love if this movie was just about journalists following Godzilla throughout the city. He's trying to get the tape into the camera. He's getting right up close with the dinosaur, the Zillas, getting neck to neck. And as somebody who loves and respects journalism, seeing another, Italian boy like me on the street running around just trying to get the shot, I was like, this is a great character. He provided all the comic relief in the movie. I felt everybody else kind of falls flat. I mean, not to get negative, but I would have liked for Victor Animal Pilati to be the real soul of the movie. And he's got his wife yelling at him the whole time.
What's up? Damn right, you crazy wop.
But I identify with that. I'm like, I want a woman to yell at me and call me a wop. And I go, baby, I'm just out there getting the shot of Godzilla. So I don't know. I had a lot of fun with him. And there's some other characters. I mean, if we're just talking about characters, I thought...
Whoa, careful. Your point's over. Save it.
Is my point... All right. I didn't know
you were
if I was
focused
too
on
broad
animal.
or too
You were
narrow.
focusing on animal on your point. So
all right. Then I'll keep it to animal.
I like that Matthew Broderick teaches us science. I love the opening where he actually teaches how the worms can be pulled out of the dirt with a little bit of electricity. You dig it up and the electricity, low voltage vibrations brings up. And I Googled it, Vito. That is a real science fact.
That's a real
You
thing.
can actually bring the earthworms out with a little bit of electricity, low voltage, and you won't
That was
kill
your
them.
science lesson?
And so there's science. I like that he does sciences. And I think Nick Tatopoulos, so they do a silly joke throughout.
Terrible running joke.
I wasn't a fan of that. We're trying to be positive, but I thought Matthew Broderick did hold up. There's a weird obsession with all the women in the movie, how he looks.
Oh, he looks so handsome on TV.
But hey, they're being positive towards him.
Yeah, they really like him.
They really did like.
I thought that one scientist lady who hits on him in like the first whatever seconds of the
not
movie.
Kathy Griffin.
Do you mean to tell me there's no one who holds a special place in your heart?
Anyway, so we're getting negative. But I like his science lessons. And I love there's another one later where he's like,
he's just an animal. All we need to do is to find out what he needs, and he'll come to you.
Like throughout the film, he does
stop chasing him. Let's bait him.
He does actually do some like smart scientific, and it's just unlike these types of movies where the science person actually has a good. It's like Independence Day. I didn't love what's like, well, catch a cold. It just didn't make any sense at the end of the movie. That said, oh yeah, catch a cold. I'll give the computer virus. It was a sort of a jump. Whereas I feel like in this film, Nick, as the scientist, actually is a scientist at times, and not just the heartthrob, Ferris Bueller heartthrob, which they make him. But I enjoyed the science elements of this film. Was my point number 3. So back to you for your point number 3.
Well, what science elements being the worms and the
worms and his ways that he sort of figures out how to get the dinosaur, the Zilla out with his tactics.
I'm going to challenge your point. I don't think there was enough science.
Not enough. Well, there was science. There was science.
There was a tiny bit of science. I'm challenging you on that one. I don't know about that.
I'd like to. Did you know how to pull worms out of the ground?
No. How relevant is that?
There it is. There it is. I've proven my point.
Put a bunch of fish for Godzilla to eat. That's science.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
He eats fish. I don't know.
That's a lot of fish.
That's a lot of fish.
I think there are some great gags in this movie, surprisingly. There's a couple gags I thought were iconic. So iconic that they've actually stayed with me. I haven't seen this movie in 10, 15 years. But I've always remembered that scene where he goes, where's the footprint? He's looking for the footprint of Godzilla. He's like, what do you mean there's tracks? Where are the tracks? And you cut out and he's standing in a giant track. Now, it's not going to make you laugh out loud, but that's just a great shot, great little gag, and for some reason that scene always stuck with me. I thought that was like a Jurassic Park scene, because I always thought about it, and every time I watch Jurassic Park, I'm like, what happened to that scene where he's standing in the... I didn't remember it was Godzilla. So that was good. We already talked about the
that was the best scene? What are you talking about? You're challenging my worms, and you're calling out the dumb footprint scene?
No, I'm saying gags in general, okay? Because, I think all the gags can be under one category. Also, again, we talked about the old man fishing up Godzilla. That is a great
sequence. That was on my list. That was a great sequence.
That's a great one. And also, the gumball machine. I hate to say it. That's some classic Hollywood stuff right there. They're running away from this movie's basically equivalent of Velociraptors, because Jurassic Park was so popular. We have baby Godzillas chasing Matthew. What does he do? Pulls down a gumball machine. So stupid. And they all start slipping and sliding. It's so stupidly comical that you're like, you know what? I can't help but love it. It's like the fruit cart in the chase scenes, pull the fruit cart and everybody runs through it. That's how stupid and whatever. It's stupid on a fun level where this movie's having some fun. It's not taking itself too seriously. So I really did enjoy some of the gags in this movie.
Yeah, the film does actually have some good gags. So I'm going to parlay what you said then into my 4, which is to me, I really enjoy the finale. Now, some people might think I'm crazy, but no, this finale. I'm gonna be positive, Vito. You ready for me to turn this finale into a positive?
Okay.
This finale out Jurassic Park. You want to hear how it does it? Yeah, in Jurassic Park we got like 3 raptors. Dude,
Yeah.
they got a dozen raptors. They got a dozen baby dinos that suddenly baby Zilla's out there. And you know that stupid kitchen scene? No. We're taking it to the garden, yo. Not the Olive Garden,
true.
Madison
They go
Square Garden.
They
Boom.
go big.
And then they go and they can't open the door. They also can open the doors. They eat some French people. They don't just eat lawyers. They only eat a lawyer in dress. They really eat some of those French people.
There's some carnage.
And then serious carnage. And then on top of that, they Home Alone the dinosaurs with the gumball machine, like you just said. So I can't take it. But
Which I
totally,
love.
there's a great. You echoed the moment. But that whole finale goes through. But wait, there's more. They're out of fish. The dinosaurs are out of fish. Then they're on the wrong floor, and then it's like,
I want you to blow up Madison Square Garden.
and then the whole finale just insane. It keeps going. It keeps going. But then the movie's not over. The movie's not over. You think the movie ends there, but no, the movie's like, we're just getting started. That's when the T-Rex comes out, but they're like, F the T-Rex, we got Zilla, and we got Zilla reacting to his dead babies on the floor, and he's gonna be like, you mother... fuck dead, but and he's just gonna go, I'm gonna destroy you. So then
They fake you out. They fake you out. You think the movie's over.
Totally, and it
then you get a
doesn't.
whole nother action set piece.
And then the movie goes balls to the wall crazy, where it goes Fast and the Furious through the heights of New York, where a cab is outrunning Zilla. It's ridiculous but fun. Show the
Across the
high
Brooklyn
beams.
Bridge, of
High
all
beams.
things.
We got the showdown on the Brooklyn Bridge. He's now blowing up cars with his breath. Brah! You got the explosion, so it's sort of because he's not Godzilla, so he's got to figure out another way to blow up those cars. And then it gets so crazy that you're cheering when the cab when they're stuck in his mouth, and they gotta and he electrocutes his teeth to get out, and step on it, dude.
Yeah.
I
And
loved
more of
it.
those
I
practical
loved
effects,
it.
I think.
Super
I think they
practical
must have
effects,
had-
but it literally turns into Fast and the Furious meets Godzilla at the end, where it's so
Yes.
bad it's good in a way that I totally enjoyed it. And like the end finale of Jurassic Park is obviously great. It's tense, it's and real, but this one's like the silly version that just keeps one-upping itself, like, oh yeah, it's not just like dozens of baby Zillas. No, there's like a moment where they've gone through the whole world, and they go down the lobby floor, and then there's like 100 more. Where you're like,
they
oh
went nuts.
shit, what are we gonna do?
You would have thought that they would have pulled back, but they were like, you know what, the CG is so bad, let's just
Positive.
Who cares at this point?
have to
Let's
be
get
positive.
100 of them out there.
Keep it positive, Vito. The
I don't have
commenters
to
will
keep
vote.
positive. It's your point.
Oh,
I
that's
get to sabotage your point as
There
much
you
as
go,
I
fair
want.
enough. We're learning the rules. But there, I got to
Yeah.
say, the finale is fantastic fun.
Yeah, and I also wanted to bring up, there are even some great gags going on. I love when they're talking about, they're trying to get away from Zilla, and they're like, should we take 3rd and 9th? He's like, what, you're going to take that in the rain? No, we should take Broadway. Just two New Yorkers arguing about
That's what you do in New York. It is totally
It is.
common.
It's
So
a
there we
great
go.
New York movie. Just going to reinforce my number one.
All right, you're number 4. Go ahead.
Well, I just want to, and I do want to check, when you said the finale, you are not talking about the death of Zilla, which to me was, I'll
yeah.
talk about that right now, because I brought this up to you on Twitter, and maybe I'm going to get a little too meta here, is this movie is great if you look at it not in the way the filmmakers intended, but kind of like an accidental meta commentary on America's military excess, which I don't know if this was intentional, but they're like, we have to destroy Godzilla. The only way to do that is to destroy our own city. And like every time they fire a missile at Godzilla, he just ducks slightly, and they're like, we blew up the Chrysler building.
The heat seekers didn't work. Oh,
And then
damn
they
it.
find out, Madison Square Garden is full of, dinosaurs. Well, rather than, go in and systematically take them out, let's nuke it from the air. I mean, just carpet bomb Madison Square Garden. You're like, oh my God. I mean, I guess this is what our military does. Just blow it all sky high. And then maybe getting a little too meta. I mean, we've blown up a building full of somebody's children.
You're going to make this positive, right? I'm still waiting for the
Well, that's the thing, is you have to love it from this unintentional thing of, you blow up a building full of somebody's kids, and then all of a sudden you act all surprised when they retaliate and start chasing you through the city. It's like, yeah, you can't just bomb stuff with no repercussions. It comes around on you. So, I don't know. This movie almost becomes a weird political commentary on itself that, of course, ends with killing Godzilla, who is basically like a pregnant mother. I felt bad for Godzilla. When they killed Godzilla at the end, they had this weird music playing. I'm like, are you trying to make me sympathize with this thing you've been shooting missiles at for the last 2 hours? What are you doing? So I almost love
I do.
What I think became this unintentional, it's like a commentary on movies like Independence Day, which are these oorah military movies. Like, yeah, let's get it done. Let's kill all the aliens. But here, it seems to have inverted that. It's almost a commentary on those movies and like a critique of them. I don't know if that was intentional. It probably wasn't. But for me, the movie very much worked on that level of like, yeah, you know, you can't, maybe don't just bomb everything. Maybe don't shoot missiles at the Chrysler Building. I don't know.
And I got to echo, you're right. The ending is there's that moment where it's like Zilla's like on the floor dying, and he's like, "I thought you understood me, worm guy."
There's wind
friends.
chimes in the music. It's like a great. It's supposed to be a triumphant moment. I mean, because there's that moment where Matthew Broderick almost communicates with it, like he gets right up next to him, and I'm like, wait, do they want me to like Godzilla? What is happening in this movie?
See, it's a tragic ending. Thank you for proving my point. Yes, this movie is great. Best movie ever. All right, my final.
Totally but I don't know. I do like it in that way of looking at it like, wow, this is interesting. There's almost something deeper here.
All right, my final point. I'm going to get a little sillier here, but hey, I'm going to own it because this is best movie ever. We got to find the positives in these bad movies. This is a very progressive movie. I forgot how progressive this movie was. There's amazing diversity. I mean, when they're filming the Japanese scenes, it's real Japanese actors in that warship going down, watching sumo wrestling, eating noodles. They really do cast accordingly to where they film. And then on top of that, they made Zilla gender neutral. They kept assuming his pronouns, but then realizing that he could be a man, a woman, be pregnant, whatever.
Yeah.
It was kind of an amazing...
calling him him, even though he's clearly pregnant.
But they sort of open up this whole idea of, non-binary, fluid, whatever. And Zilla's clearly going both ways. On top of that, they're giving you Me Too lessons back in 1998. Harry Shearer's flirting with his assistant, and it's just awful, and you realize what a scumbag he is, and he gets his comeuppance. But then you got to remember, the Kathy Griffin girl who's not Kathy Griffin is flirting with Matthew Broderick, and remember, she was his boss.
Well, you may be the wrong man for the job, but I think you're cute.
So they had the balls to go both ways. That was forward thinking enough to say, hey, you know what? We can handle the Me Too problems and harassment both ways. So this is, plus it passes the Bechdel test.
They're saying it's supposed to rain like this all week. What's with the bags, huh?
I mean, come on. Plus, a movie that's not afraid to call an Italian a wop. Come on. This movie has the balls. This movie has the balls to go where a lot of movies don't want to go. And I got to say,
it is real
progressive
talk.
as hell.
They have real talk in this movie, and I do appreciate that. Very interesting for the progressive take from the good Andy Signore.
There you go. All right, and then now your final point, Vito.
My final point, this is obvious. This is the big one. So I got 2 words for you, Andy. Puff Daddy. Ladies and gentlemen, Puff Daddy's Come With Me might not exist if not for meeting a big hook at the end of Godzilla 1998. They went to the Big P Daddy and they said, we need to close out this monster killing movie right. Credits roll. I had forgotten that this was the big anthem of Godzilla 1998.
Oh, yeah.
The second the credits roll and they start playing, I'm like, oh my, yes! Oh, come on! Dude, I'm not going to try and rap over it because I don't have the lyrics in front of me. But let's be clear, one of the greatest movie soundtracks of all time by virtue of that song alone. They got Jimmy Page
to do the Zeppelin riff over.
They got him to come back in. It's not just a sample. You would think it would just be a sample. No, they brought him into the studio. Again, what great movie songs? "Kissed by a Rose" from Seal. I'm sure there's other ones.
That's not in this movie. That's Batman
It's not
Forever.
actually in the movie, but it is from the soundtrack.
No, it's not. You're talking
Kiss
Batman
from a Rose
Forever.
is on the Batman soundtrack.
Oh, you're saying because of since Batman is what you said?
I'm saying of all the great movie soundtracks.
Oh, okay, sorry, I misheard you.
Of the great movies the great songs associated with
Well, I would argue
movies.
this is a great movie soundtrack. You had Wallflowers,
Yes.
Heroes, you had Rage Against the Machine, Jamiroquai, Ben Folds 5, Fuel, Foo Fighters, Green Day, Silverchair. I mean, this was the 90s
There's some
all
great
in an
stuff
album.
in there.
Yeah.
I would just buy I would buy that soundtrack.
It was. I had it on CD. I listened. It was on my list, and I didn't put it on there. It was one of the last. In case you pulled one of mine, I was going to pull that next. But the soundtrack,
soundtrack was on there.
Yeah.
It is a great soundtrack. Puff Daddy and everybody else Just great 90s music all around. And what was a better time for music than the 90s? There is no better era. Let's be clear.
Vito, I did find the lyrics to Puff Daddy. Ready?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm doing terrible.
Yeah, that's pretty much what the song goes. Hear my cries, hear my call. Lend me your ears, see my fall. See my error, know my faults. Time halts, see my loss. Know I'm lacking, backtracking where I met you. Pistol packing, itchy finger, trigger happy. Come with me. There we did. I don't know if we're gonna get a ding for that because we were so off, but maybe I got some of those words
fun
wrong.
cutting that one together.
Well, Vito, we did a pretty good job there. I'm surprised. It sounds like kind of sound like we liked that movie.
Do you want a real quick? Do you have any quick ones just to throw out that didn't make it into the show?
We didn't do the Simpsons cast. This movie is like it has Hank Azaria, Harry Shearer, and Nancy Cartwright. Bart does like a Bart
thought that
voice.
would be one of yours, which is why I stayed away from it. I'm like, definitely Andy of all people is going to go the Simpsons route.
It is a great to see that they finally gave the Simpson voice cast a movie, but then they never got movies after that for some reason. It was a bummer.
And I also love the classic 90s trying to represent digital tech without really understanding it at all. The network is on an internet, and that's what you need to know about this scene. You can't not love that classic 90s. What's the internet? I don't know. Put it in the script. People love that technical nonsense.
They do.
It's good stuff.
The only other thing I remember, which I was told about, and it wasn't one of my points, but apparently the animated series it launched was actually really good. The animated series followed Nick and the baby dinosaur going on as another one.
It continued from the movie.
It did, yeah, it continued. He's watched the hatchling, and then they had a Godzilla on their side and fought other things, and it launched a toy line and a cartoon. And a lot of people were like, no, the animated series was actually pretty badass. And the other thing you didn't mention that I almost did what I like Jean Reno as the Frenchman. I thought he was a badass, fun character, like sort of slips in and out. It's this total stereotypical French thing, but Jean Reno actually was really fun.
It's interesting when the movie starts off. I'm like, oh, it's like classic 90s cinema where the foreigner is the bad guy or whatever. And then it completely flips on its head. It's like, now French Secret Service is here to hold down the fort. They're the only guys you can trust. Again, with that meta commentary where it's like, are America the good guys or the bad guys in this movie? I can't really tell.
It's funny because I was playing with that concept too, because the movie really does make America look stupid. Like the soldiers are stupid. They're blowing everything up constantly.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe...
And Matthew Broderick tells them, like, we need to, what was he telling them? We need to get, underground now. And they're like, no, we don't want to follow you. They kick him out because his girlfriend steals a tape and leaks it to the press.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's your most important guy. You're going to kick him out because of a PR snafu? Like, come on, what are you doing? So yeah, the American military really kind of screws up a lot in this movie. It's weird. I don't know exactly but then it kind of becomes like, yay, we did it. Well, so I don't know exactly what the moral was.
I thought maybe it was a reaction to when ID4 Independence Day ends with it's such a pro-American movie. Literally, the rest of the world's like,
it's from the Americans. But they want to organize a counter-offensive.
It's about bloody time. What do they plan to do?
There's that moment at the end of Independence Day where they're literally the other countries are just waiting for America to solve it, and so maybe he got some flack and was trying to course correct,
make it a more multinational thing. I mean, you got an Italian, you got a Frenchman. You got a nerd and a blonde. Yep. What better foursome could you ask for?
Well, look, I feel like we really hit this hard. We did positive. It proves to me, look, this was, of all the movies that we could watch, to me, this is not the worst movie of all time.
No, it was a bit long, to be fair.
It is
I did not remember that this movie is 2 hours long. It does, which was rare for blockbusters at the time, I want to say.
Sure, totally. But it was like a little Lord of the Rings where it keeps going and going. But I enjoyed the ending. But yeah, they could have totally trimmed some of this. There was apparently there was going to be a whole trilogy. And people, I really still firmly believe if they didn't cast the monster differently and they actually had Godzilla in it, or if they had called it something else, I think this film would have been a way bigger hit than it was. It just so many people left a bad taste. They're like, that's not Godzilla. And here's our 10 seconds of complaining that the iguana with the chicken legs just looked so stupid as under the name Godzilla, and I think that's really where the problem arose. But I will give you your final 10 seconds to bitch, Vito. Go ahead.
I just really have to comment that how does Godzilla keep teleporting in this movie? They keep going, well, we lost him, and then he's right in front of him every time. And then he chases a helicopter, and you're like, just fly up with the helicopter, through the streets and just go up. And he goes, I lost Godzilla finally. And then,
Time.
of course, he gets eaten.
Time. There you go.
Too much.
Too much time. Just you only get 10 seconds. There
Fine.
we go.
I need hours, but I'll take the 10.
That's typically what we do, but that's not what we do in this show. We find the worst movies and we label them. Ready? Best movie ever. Oh, that was fun, Vito. I want to do it again. That was a blast. And I think next
that
week,
was a good time.
next episode or whenever, I've been told there's a really bad Mortal Kombat movie we need to watch that neither of us have seen. Mortal Kombat Annihilation is, I think, going to be our next one on deck. So that's guys. I heard it's going to be a lot harder than this one. So if you have a movie you want to suggest down below, tell us in the comments down below. What bad movies do you want to see Vito and I try to find the positive in? We want to get your suggestions down below. So set them on over there, and we will maybe use your comments in a future video. Final words, Vito.
I liked this challenge. I like, as someone who goes into movies as a very negative person, having to find the good buried within this. Let's say hunk of coal, the diamond in this hunk of coal, was a great challenge, and I truly enjoyed it. And thank you, Andy. I think obviously I'm going to end up winning this one in the end, but you put up a good fight yourself, and I appreciate you trying.
Well, the audience, you guys get to decide in the comments who was more positive, who made the best points. Tell us in the comments below. Team Andy, Team Vito. It doesn't matter either way because we had fun. But I agree. I like this. Regardless of whether the guys view it, I feel like it's like therapy for me where it's like I have to like look at it half full instead of half empty. You know what I mean? Like that's what's nice about this challenge. There's so much. It's so easy to just roast the movies, but to take the worst movies and find the good, I think we're onto something, Vito. So stay tuned.
And to see what you've lost out on because, we went into this movie, we forgot about all the practical effects, all the, great shooting on location. Maybe at the time this movie was not great, but now we see, there's things that we wish we still had in movies today. So I think going back, it's very interesting.
Correct. No one makes a movie going to make it bad. You know what I'm saying? No one's intent to make any movie is let's make a really crappy movie. So there's always some parts in it that you can find. So I'm excited to continue this. We'll try it again. Mortal Kombat Annihilation, I think, is next. But tell us your suggestions because we're going to be gathering and stocking up more as we can. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, subscribe. We may put it here. I may move this chat. We'll see how you guys like this. But in the meanwhile, subscribe here. And make sure you go subscribe to Vito's channel over on YouTube. Just look up Vito. You'll find him. He's got all his videos, Cinematic Failures. Go support Vito, my man over there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more.
Take care of yourself.
See ya! Oh man, Mortal Kombat, that's going to be hard.
I look forward to that.